So we have another long form video that I'm doing today. So we're going to look at every single iPhone that Apple's selling right now, compare them and see which one is best for you and with the price being attached to that. So let's start off with the iPhone 16e. The iPhone 16e is in a very weird spot. It has a 6.1 inch display, a 60 hertz refresh rate. It supports Apple Intelligence, which is okay, I guess. There's a notch instead of Dynamic Island, no MagSafe support, which is kind of weird because you think that would be, a feature in an iPhone that came out in 2025 because, MagSafe is such a useful and essential feature on iPhones now that I don't see why they didn't include that, but that's just the way it is. You also don't get the ultra wide camera, and if you don't know what that is, then you probably don't need it. Essentially, it just allows more to be in the shot. It's literally all there is to it. It has a decent 48 megapixel main fusion camera, which is pretty okay. All iPhones I'm discussing will have that 48 megapixel main camera. So as I said before, it doesn't have Dynamic Island, which is like the little animation at the top of most newer iPhones, and except for this one, of course, since it only came out in February, it is still a very fresh iPhone. The iPhone 16e starts at $600 with 128 gigabytes of storage, so it is a little expensive, especially because of all those essential features that it lacks. As for the colors, it's only a black or white finish, so it's pretty boring. The iPhone 16, on the other hand, has a lot more vibrant colors that you might find much more appealing than just white or black. So the iPhone 16 and 16 Plus are still being sold, now listed for $700 for the iPhone 16 and $800 for the 16 Plus. I'll say it now, don't get the 16 Plus. It's just not a good deal for what you're getting. You could buy the iPhone 17 for that exact same price and you'd be more than happy, which I'll get to pretty soon. So if you're going to get an iPhone 16 model, just get the starting size for $700. So the iPhone 16 has the 6.1 inch display, just like the 16e, except this time it has Dynamic Island, which is good. It also supports MagSafe, still has that lagging 60 hertz display that is quite outdated, and even some cheap Android phones are starting to move on from 60 hertz. Has the 48 megapixel main camera and a 12 megapixel ultra wide camera. So for an additional $100, you get Dynamic Island, MagSafe, a little bit of a brighter display, and of course the ultra wide camera. Moving on, we have now the iPhone 17, which is listed for $800 at a starting storage of 256 gigabytes. The iPhone 17 is a steal this year, because there are so many pro-like features that we thought would never be announced on 17, and some that we were waiting on for quite a while. It finally has ProMotion, which can go from 1 Hz enabling the always-on display all the way up to 120 Hz for intensive games. So it'll have that nice buttery smooth navigation that we've all been hoping would come to the base model. There's of course the 48 megapixel main camera, and the ultra-wide also matches that quality at 48 megapixels. So those ultra-wide shots will have much more crisp and vibrant appearance. And it's slightly larger than the iPhone 16, now having a 6.3 inch display compared to 6.1, which will feel slightly more immersive in your navigation experience. Speaking of which, the bezels are also slimmer, and you gotta love that. Plus, every iPhone 17 this year is equipped with the 18 megapixel selfie camera, also allowing auto rotation and adjusting depending on how many figures are in the frame at one time. And one of my favorite things when I got the iPhone 17 Pro is the dual capture mode, so you can record on both the front facing camera and the rear facing camera at the exact same time to like show your reaction and stuff like that. I've already tested that out, so feel free to check out that video, which I'll leave in the description. Now there's the iPhone Air, which was rumored to be the iPhone 17 Air, but the name just turned out to be a little different. Regardless, they still released the thinnest iPhone ever made, but it's in a bit of a weird spot. It's listed for $1,000 at a 256 gigabyte starting storage amount. It has a 6.5 inch display, which definitely is the sweet spot of sizes. It's got Dynamic Island, MagSafe support, ProMotion, just like on the iPhone 17. Obviously dual capture, since that's on any iPhone that came out this year. But because of it being super thin, some components had to be taken away. For example, the speaker on the bottom, there's no speaker down there. It's just the microphone. So the only speaker you're getting is at the top. The audio quality probably won't be the best, especially if you use your speakers a lot. Also, with it being thinner, you can't fit as big of a battery in there. So the battery life on Apple's website, it says 27 hours of video playback, but I feel like as it ages over time, it's going to be significantly less than that. So if you're going to buy this phone, you should probably ask yourself, am I getting it for the design design or for the specs. And if it's mostly for the design, then yeah, go for it. And lastly, there is the iPhone 17 Pro and 17 Pro Max, which the cameras are goated this year. So for the 17 Pro, it starts at $1,100, which is $100 more expensive compared to last year. For the 17 Pro Max, it starts at $1,200. Obviously, just like the other iPhone 17s, the starting storage is 256 gigabytes, which is the model that I selected. I don't need anything more than that, even with all the constant filming that I do. Really, I didn't have much storage taken up on the iPhone 16, which was my previous iPhone, so I didn't really need to upgrade from there. So on the iPhone 17 Pro, you get the 6.3-inch display, dynamic island, MagSafe, all those essentials, plus ceramic shield not only on the front, but also on the back right here. It's kind of hard to see. Dual capture, since they're both on the iPhone 17 and the iPhone Air. For the 17 Pro Max, the only difference is in years past and including with this year's models is a slightly larger display and larger battery with it being bigger. So on the iPhone 17 Pro, you get up to 33 hours of video playback, which is equivalent to last year's iPhone 16 Pro Max, which is really saying something. And on this year's 17 Pro Max, it is up to 39 hours of video playback. So that's quite a leap from last year. To list some of the camera specs, there is obviously the 48 megapixel main camera, the 48 megapixel ultra wide camera, and then the 48 megapixel 4x telephoto, which I've tested out and it just looks absolutely insane. You get to zoom in really up close and still have the depth control and that really crisp 48 megapixel quality. And even though it's 12 megapixels, I'm also really liking the 8x telephoto, which is what I've been using mostly when zooming in. And I just want to point out, if the only way you zoom in is like this, you could have much higher quality photos if you simply rely on whatever optical cameras you have first, then go to digital zoom. So just a little tip I wanted to point out there. Now let's get into the colors on all of these iPhones. So as mentioned before, the iPhone 16e has only two finishes, which are white and black. Not as vibrant or colorful as I thought they would be before they announced this phone. It gets a little more interesting and optional on the iPhone 16 though. Last year's advertised color when the iPhone 16 came out was the ultramarine, which I thought was a very good color. It was my second consideration from the black color that I ended up choosing instead. So there's ultramarine, teal, pink, white, or black. This year's advertised color on the iPhone 17 is, they're calling it lavender. It's sort of like a palish light purple. So there's lavender, sage, mist blue, which is almost like a lighter version of ultramarine, white, and then black. All of these are very good colors as well, in my opinion. If I were to get one of these, I'd probably choose mist blue. That color looks pretty stunning. Then there's the iPhone Air. So there is the advertised sky blue color, which actually is on the M4 MacBook Air. That's not the color I chose though. I got the midnight finish, as you've probably seen on my other videos. So on the iPhone Air, there's sky blue, which looks pretty good, light gold, cloud white, and then space black, which actually looks, in my opinion, it looks the best out of all of these. It just looks really clean with that single camera at the top. For the sky blue, light gold, and cloud white, the differences between these three, they're not that far off, I can tell you that. And then lastly, the model that I chose, the iPhone 17 Pro or 17 Pro Max. So for the iPhone 17 Pro, there's three color options. There's the advertised cosmic orange. This was my second possible consideration when choosing this, but I already have a lot of other dark products. My Apple Watch Series 7 is in like a midnight color, and so is my M4 MacBook Air, so I figured I kind of have to go along with that. But the cosmic orange is still very good. It's a very nice color. It's actually the first iPhone Apple's ever made that has an orange finish on it at all. Then of course there is silver, which is I guess a good color if you're like undecided on a color or you really don't care about the color. I think silver is a really good option, and it also looks very clean in the photos. And then of course there is deep blue, which I went for it right away when I saw that they were going to have that finish. I mean, this just looks absolutely stunning. It even matches my sweatshirt, so I don't regret getting this color. Like, I know there's been like a lot of scratch reports on the new 17 Pros, especially in the deep blue color, but let me just say I've not had any scratch, not one, not even on the screen. Like, this thing is flawless right now. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it might have helped your decision on if you're going to be purchasing an iPhone from Apple's website right now. And then again, there's always good reliable websites like Plug Tech who sell even older models, or like the iPhone 16 Pro, which is also a good option as it still has many modern features. So I wouldn't go against checking those out either, but hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.